as you might already know, the new EU4 DLC and patch are coming. Some say it's the last one, we'll see about that. I already covered 2 videos about this patch, one talking about what in general is gonna be changed with nations. Last week I uploaded a video explaining the changes about the natives in the new world, and today we're gonna focus on a dev diary that's around Venice, Italy and the Netherlands. First of all, this is a gigantic mission tree that Venice is presenting us, and we already see that there will be some branching missions. The mission tree itself, why it's gigantic, is focusing obviously on some crucial things more or less around the Venetian Republic history. So there will be Italian wars, conquest in the peninsula and beyond it. We'll see maritime expansion, internal development of the nation, focus on cultivation of the arts and culture, and even a bit of colonization. The new key mechanic that is introduced to Venice is called a Council of 10, which is supposed to be a kind of a counterpower for the dodge, stopping you from getting too strong. You see, the Council of 10 is focused on the authority, which is from 0 to 100. The higher authority, the worse it is for you. You see that the maximum is giving us minimum autonomy, maximum absolutism, all states influence, and what is the worst? You cannot declare wars if the authority is beyond 90. So you have to be very cautious, because you might end up in a situation where you just cannot do anything. Obviously, besides just going up and down through the modifiers that you have in the country, there will be many events that are gonna allow you to change the authority itself. And what's funny, the stronger the doge is and his stats, the higher the authority will grow. So if you have a dog shit doge, you're gonna actually decrease the authority, while when he's a 666 roll, you're in trouble. The 3 abilities that are here, based on what I read, you remember when you're playing Venice, they have the 3 fractions with the aristocrats, traders and the guilds. You know, you can just spend some mana to get one of them in charge. It also depends what doge you choose. And now, depending which fraction is in power, these 3 buttons will be giving you different bonuses and minus. So this is gonna give you a bit more flexibility, you know. Besides just getting a flat modifier for a specific faction, you're also gonna have a bigger playthrough with the Council of 10 and their authority for these interactions. Obviously, a massive amount of the new flavor events on top of the ones that were already, like Venice Renaissance Champion. Venice during the Renaissance is just gonna give you more historical background. If you know you're not playing EU4 to conquer the whole world, but you want to learn history, there you go. This whole event is explaining you a bit deeper the Renaissance in Venice. You see, there is a tier 3 guarantee form that we can unlock, which is called Promotion at Ducal. That's, I assume that it is what it says here. So lottery candidates will be improved by 1 skill point until the end of the game. Obviously, some missions are around the Council of 10 itself. So for example, when the guilds are in power, you'll have their Republican tuition cost reduced. Culmination of this part of the mission tree ends with an event where you're establishing the Golden Republic. So there are a lot of options here, and this is pretty much because the devs want to allow you to shape your country as you want. You can choose to change your color or keep it. You can say the new color is pretty nice. You can change your country's name or keep it. La Serenissima would be the new name. You can change your ideas or keep them, or you can choose any of the above or none of the above, as you can see. So you might think, oh, what are the Golden Republic ideas? Let's take a look at them. We've got the trade stealing, 33% is pretty nice, 25% Gallic compatibility, a discipline, tech cost. Not sure what this means. Present the previous Venadia's idea set. Stato da Mar. Let's take a look. You see the Stato da Mar is 20% trade efficiency. Then we've got global trade power, fire damage, land force limit, naval force limit, global ship trade power, global trade goods size. Is it goods produce modifier or is the trade goods 0.1? Trade goods 0.1, like both would be pretty nice. Max absolutism and max revolutionary zeal. I won't say these ideas are better than Venetian for the military, but god damn it, why would I leave Death Coast or Yellow Republican tradition from the previous ideas? Why did you take it? Why not keep it in the new ideas? Second part of the mission tree is dealing with the outward expansion of the Republic in Italy, Mediterranean and beyond this. And here is where the branching missions are happening, so be able to choose the specialization of your military, which is between the land army, navy, or the mercenary, and depending what ideas you chose, as you see, you might get a different bonus. So for example, reformers and commandants will give you 5% siege ability per level if you took the offensive ideas, which means that at level 5, a commandant or army reformer will give you 25% siege ability. With defensive ideas, constructing forts will give you this modifiers locally. The local manpower modifier is really lovely, and imagine combining this with a university. You're deving for free. This is a bit strong. I think that might need to be nerfed. This is also strong. Quality ideas is gonna give you recruiting a general will now grant +1 army tradition. This is mech. And with quantity ideas, employing one of these 3 kinds of advisors will grant us no cost for reinforcements, which is really strong as well. But I'm the most worried about this. Because if you're in Italy, you can afford having a fort in every single province, especially that having a level 2 fort is gonna be good enough, even though level 8 fort should be there. And these modifiers are insane. Maybe local defensiveness can be still there, but these two, they definitely have to be nerfed. And I would also put a modifier that the fort has to be up to date to have this impact, because if it's outdated, why would you keep this? Another mission is giving you the Iron Wall of Italy, which is no force march cost, naval force march, and fire damage receives -5%. I mean, it's kinda strong, but I love it. Yeah, so this is the standing army branch. Let's take a look what the mercenary path in these branching missions is gonna give you. So first of all, the mercenary leader army tradition modifier will +50%, while mercs will be able to replenish the ranks of random mercenary company stations in our capital via national decision. So it means that every 5 years I'll be able to refill the manpower of the mercenary company, right? So if it has 100k maximum power, it went down to 0, you can just refill it. That's pretty strong, but very situational. The mercenary bonuses seem to be a bit weaker than the land ones. How about the navy? Here again we have bonuses depending on the ideas you chose, and that's cool because it makes naval a bit more useful on the land fight. We have the discipline modifier and army drill gain, but it is only affecting your marines, so this is for the marines meta. Maritime is gonna give you building docks and shipyards is +1 production, as well as navy tradition flat, while the trade reward is the cancel of the interactions, while the traders and power will have their costs reduced. Cool. Get free mercantilism, and that's it. So these feel a bit weaker than what he had for the land bonuses, but it is still cool. While the other mission is giving us global trade power, ship costs, and naval tradition from battles. Not bad. We have some information about the expansion path. We have expansion towards Alexandria, Aleppo, the Italian unification that gives us, for example, reform progress growth and more admin mana, while finally the final branch is following an alternate history path of Venice, spreading its mercantile and maritime grasp beyond the Mediterranean. So we can go beyond that to Aden, India, China, and even the Americas. So there are some perma claims and trade power. 100 trade power Aden is insane, but it's only for 22 years. Or just 20 years, strengthening the spice trade of even more local goods produced modifiers over there, extending golden era, which is still extremely strong because you have double golden era, but I think the same we had for Poland already and Spain, or even more countries. Or focusing your trade efforts on Genoa and Venice gives you 30 months of monthly income from that node. One final mission is allowing you to construct the Suez Canal, and it's either through a diplomatic path with the Mamluks or Egypt, or for the conquest path. Okay, how about Italy? Italy did have a mission tree already, I think from Emperor, but look at this massive mission tree that it received right now. Based on what they're saying here, they're keeping some of the old missions, and the new DLC is gonna just expand them and give you much more flavor. In general, the mission tree will focus on restoration of the Roman Empire, just like the old mission tree, unification of Italy obviously, building up economically, reforming your military, but also a branching mission that is focusing on the choice of your end node. Is it focused on Genoa or is it focused on Venice? The mission will be a bit more complex, like the Byzantine one, where there are a lot of evolving modifiers that with every mission you are getting more and more bonuses to the same modifier, where at the very top you're building a big earn a modifier until the end of the game. While the other missions are a bit focused on age-timed limited modifiers, so for example only for the specific age you're getting it, which is encouraging, you know, a swift and rented conquest to get the specific lands. So first of all, you present a branch that is forcing on developing core lands in Italy and uniting Italy itself politically, where at the end of this tree we'll claim a spot in one of the great powers. That gives us plenty of perma claims, and an event claiming the Roman ancestry, which is first of all, first option, we'll get the rank of an empire, and until we form Roman Empire, pretty nasty modifiers for diplo rep and amount of relations, but it's also unlocking as a special casus belli Roman ambition, which is claims on all of the Roman lands, and this will cost 10% less AE and 10% less war score to take. Second option is just to simply get yearly absolutism, max absolutism, as well as some prior projection. Then this is the build-up modifier that I mentioned. We're gonna unlock the core creation cost and recover army morale speed, and from what I've seen, that core creation cost can be built up and up and up to get higher than just this 5%. Obviously there will be a part of the mission focusing on the Holy Roman Empire, where you can either take it over diplomatically and it's gonna allow you to take more imperial authority, or just simply dismantle it. See, with a real Roman Empire, you can increase the previous modifier of core creation cost to 10%. Region of the Legions is pretty interesting because that's decreased AE until the end of the game, farther than Caesar, but also a special merc company that costs no professionalism and gives you all of these very nice modifiers. I'm just hoping that it's just more than 5k of people. There are 3 missions about your military, where you can, as you see, either focus on mercenary-based army with all of these pretty nice modifiers, or you just go for improvements on your standing army, that is land fire damage. There's a mini branch around the Renaissance. As you see, you can strengthen the birthplace of the Renaissance with all of these modifiers, while the whole country is gonna get for 30 years advisor cost and reform progress growth. Beautiful. How about the missions around the economy and trade that are mentioned here? You said that the goal of these missions will be balancing the parity between economies on the north and the south, something that modern Italy cannot do, and pushing Italian goods into the world markets. So there Cavour will be as an advisor, even though he's a bit outside of this timeline. But you see there are cool modifiers where for every level of this advisor gonna get the death cost from progress growth and goods progress modifier, or as a second option just national modifier for trade efficiency. Italian wine allows you to make monopolies possibly worth it on wine because you get 50% more ducats, and you also increase the price of wine by 20%. But yeah, the final part is the branching mission about the choice of your trade. Are you gonna go Genoa or Venice, like I mentioned a bit earlier? I don't want to get into too much of the details to not bore you to death about these two paths, but the difference is pretty straightforward. If you go the Venice path, it's more about eastern expansion, so expansion towards Constantinople, Alexandria, Ragusa, Aleppo, all of these lands, and also later going into India and beyond. While the Genoese branch is going more into Valencia, Sevilla, Tunis, Safi, and obviously the New World, where as you can see when you get trading in specific trade goods, you get additional modifiers from them. This is the mission tree that Italy deserves to have. But let's think if Netherlands is gonna receive also the mission tree that it deserves to have. From Netherlands, you should expect a nation that is small in the homeland, but gigantic in the amount of the fleet and the colonial expansion across the world to just get the trade across everyone. Well, as you see, first of all, the Dutch miners are gonna receive these small mission trees, which are gonna look more or less like this, and even specific miners are gonna have slightly different basic bonuses. You see the three different ones. The three different ones that we are getting here is with Holland, Friesland, as well as Flanders. Very important point here is that they are gonna allow you to form the Netherlands a bit earlier than before, because before you need to take 10. Right now, for this small mission tree, you can achieve that being done by just getting the other requirements, which is I think cool because you can start using the actual Netherlands lovely mission tree as you see here a bit earlier. Is it the biggest mission tree so today? I think so far in this patch. I wouldn't be surprised. One of the key parts of the missions as the Netherlands will be competing against England. So there'll be 3 missions: Supremacy in the Channel, Relations in Britain, and Glorious Revolution. So once you overshadow them in every aspect of development, trade share in the channel, etc., you'll be able to get a casus belli to get a PU on them. And then you see, depending how we complete the Glorious Revolution mission, either through a PU, you see you get the different modifiers, so as long as they are under pursuing with us, we'll be able to recruit the special ship types, while the second option will be making integrating this nation be 25% cheaper. But it might not be necessarily worth, because you'll see it a bit later through the mission tree. Alternatively, if we just conquer the British Isles, we're gonna get a modifier for 15 years for national sailors and heavy ship cost, which is kinda meh compared to just getting a free PO. Now, there's a new formable for the Dutch. It's called the United Crowns. United Crowns is once you reach Tech 20, so you have to play a bit. I believe Tech 20 is pretty deep into the game, but if you still have England and Great Britain in personal union, you'll be able to form this new tag, which is combining the best ideas from the 2 nations, as you see here, and it annexes Great Britain for free. This is why it is absolutely worth it to keep them for longer. They will colonize for you, bring more trade, and in the end you're just gonna take them over anyway, accept the English culture, become an empire, and get the new missions. Second part of the mission tree is about relations with Hansa, how you're gonna deal with it. I'm just gonna show you the high level stuff that is happening here. I will not get too much into details. Then, just like in the previous mission trees, we have part of the mission tree that is focused around your army and navy, and they're giving us a bit of historical context on what's the Dutch achieved in the 8 Years' Wars. Mainly the defense system, but also the offense system of sieges. That's why you see the 4 provinces in the Low Countries you get all of these modifiers. See, this def cost is much smaller than the one that you saw in the Venetian mission tree. And you see that these bonuses will be doubled when in Defensive 4. At the same time, you get the Dutch Engineering, which is a special advisor. And you'll see that from now on, the defense advisors, so military engineers, will also grant 5% siege ability per levels, up to 25%. Maybe it should be a bit lower. I like siege ability, keep it. Then we have a couple of missions around your navy, how you want to build it up and increase. There's a special tier 8 guarantee for, so one of the economical ones, that is boosting the free enterprise burgers privilege to give you more naval fulfillment and light ship cost. It still has, because I believe it takes 10 absolutes, so maybe make it take 5 or 0 absolutes instead to make it actually worth it in the late game. While it also gives trade efficiency and burgers loyalty equilibrium. And this is actually fun, because there are privileges that you can choose. Should my navy be focused fully on the trade for single player, or should be focused fully on fighting for the multiplayer? And then this is my favorite path, obviously, on the mission tree, so the tall meta gameplay path, where, as you see, the reform 7 provinces is gonna give us insane modifiers for primarily character provinces in the Low Countries. There's not so many provinces, but you can make these provinces insanely good with all of these modifiers. Everything outside is gonna get this. So this is perfect to just, I want to stay in the Low Countries and play colonial. That's a perfect modifier. Well, how about the colonialism? Remember that for the Great Britain we had English East India Company. So we're gonna establish something very similar, the equivalent to the British East India Company for the Dutch, that is called VOC. That's looking like this. And we have even special interactions, just like the colonial nations have, just a bit different. Then finally we have a bit of stuff about internal flavor, new events and the reforms. I will again not get deep inside this. If you want to read more about it, I'm leaving a link to the dev diary in the description of this video. It will give you more flavor to the faction. So remember, the Dutch government has status versus Orangists bonuses. So here you'll be able to have a branch dedicated to this conflict between these 2 factions. So for example, support the state is gonna give status candidate will have +1 in all monarch categories, and you also get yearly Republican tradition. While the Orangists, so I assume they are mutually exclusive, It's gonna give you, when Orangis Troll wins at least 25 battles as a general, they will gain the ruler trait Orangis Tent Holder, which gives I don't know what, but something cool probably, but you also have more max opportunities and less yearly Republican tradition. Finally, some other events around this tool, granting you very cool bonuses and some flavor events like eating of the Arnold first, even more events, more events, more events. You can see this insane amount of the flavor that I'm getting. But this is it for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this summary. This week I want also upload a video summarizing the first 3 Tinto talks, so most probably the first dev diaries of upcoming game, which everyone thinks is EU5. I'm gonna talk about this and summarize what I think about this Tinto talks so far. But anyway, next week we'll see the dev diary for the news patch around Austria, Germany, Hungary and Bohemia. This is a massive amount of content coming, so if you want to not miss it, remember to subscribe to this channel. Bye!